the story behind it, but there was this rare short animated segment called Sonic, like Man of the Year.
Oh, okay.
And it was Sonic Man of the Year. It was a very short cartoon, and it had really interesting animation. Like,
wait, is this the one where it was like I saw that cursed image of Eggman?
Yeah, where Eggman dresses up as Sonic because Sonic was voted Man of the Year.
Yeah.
So he basically cosplays as Sonic to ruin Sonic's image, like by like going around like town and just like
So cursed.
trolling people.
It does.
It has like Looney Tunes, like Warner Brothers like quality animation though. It's a really cool short.
Yeah. Well, it's like interesting because I'm looking at like a little just GIF of it, and the animation is like very fluid. Like,
Yeah.
It's very nice animation. It's really interesting.
It's interesting. I don't know what the context of it was though, because hey guys, I'm Bill, also known as the Barbecue Games on Instagram.
And I'm Alex, his sister, who brings only chaos.
And together we are the Gaming and Collecting Podcast, a mostly video game centered podcast.
But half the time, we just talk about anime.
And that collecting thing, well, that's mostly just an implication at best,
So come along and enjoy us on this adventure.
as we discuss the games that shaped us. So, it's been a while.
Yes, it has been. It's been like a few weeks since we
It's almost been a month since. Actually, the last time we recorded was when I was last here.
Oh, damn.
Because we're in the same place,
Yeah.
and we're going to be for a while.
Yeah.
Because boy, has a lot happened
Yeah.
recently. So, I guess the place to begin is we can finally say the job saga has ended.
Yes, the job saga has ended.
Because I think we last left off mentioned I had been basically, not so much lost my job, but it was basically a case of like I was pretty much out of work.
Yeah.
And I have since found new employment.
Yeah.
And me and Alex are temporarily, well, not temporarily, but we're temporarily living in her apartment
Yes.
until we can find another place.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, we're going to finally record another episode. And a lot's happened since the last time we
yeah.
recorded. Mostly in the job situation, but
Yeah. Because it's been a week. It was your first week, right?
yeah, first week. And it went well. No. I don't have access to my video games much, but that is fine.
And Tilly is licking her butthole.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I looked over and she was doing it. It was gross.
Well, other than that, though, I mean, we've definitely done a bunch since then, though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You've watched One Piece again, probably.
Yeah, I started watching some of the new dubbed episodes for like the Zoe arc, so I've been catching up on that. But I think during the time period, I think I rewatched Black Clover. I skipped a bunch of episodes though. I like skipped some of my favorite parts. I did watch a couple new shows. I watched Kotaro is My Neighbor. I think that's what it's called. It's on Netflix. It's adorable, but it's also really depressing. So if you want a good like cry but be happy show, I definitely recommend it. And it's only 10 episodes, so it's really easy to get through.
Yeah, I've been continuing to watch Yashahime, and I'm waiting on the second season of Komi Can't Communicate to get dubbed. But in the meantime, I'm pretty much hanging out. I'm catching up on the manga reading. I'm rereading the Inuyasha manga right now. And in terms of collecting, I haven't really collected much because I can't at the moment, so...
Yeah, we're both trying to save money, too, right
to find
now.
a place, so... Plus we have Anime Boston coming up.
Yes, and that should be fun.
5 years in the making there.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like it anyways, because we bought those tickets right before 2020.
Well, you did. I didn't.
Well, yeah.
I bought mine recently. Well, because originally we didn't even think I was going to be here
Yeah.
for it. Because I was supposed to be in Texas. So that was the reason why I never bought tickets. But man, has time changed
Yeah.
since then. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years, and
Yeah.
felt like 40 at one point, but Well, you know, it felt like 40, but it went by like it was like a month. Like life just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, it happened, and I'm trying to think. I thought I watched another show besides Cote d'Ivoire.
I mean, I want to watch that Spy Family show because that looks really interesting.
Yeah, Spy Family. I definitely. Oh yeah, I rewatched Hunter x Hunter too. I was
the whole thing?
rewatching that. Not the whole thing. I think I was just the third. Well, after we did a podcast on
Yeah.
we did Anime Swap. I just wanted to rewatch the third season, which was like Chimera Ant arc, and that was really good.
Mm. And if this doesn't make any sense when this episode comes out, keep in mind these are like filmed months in advance. So, of when they actually air. But other than that, though, it's been a lot. No,
Yeah.
we've things have changed, but
Yep, we're apartment hunting. That's our
apartment
big thing
hunting,
right now.
saving money.
Yep,
Living.
and learning.
Yeah.
Living and learning.
Alex is cooking buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, we're cooking buffalo chicken dip. I'm forced Bill to help me.
She just didn't want to touch the raw chicken.
Yeah, I hate touching raw chicken. I know I'm not the only one who thinks that way either, so I don't feel bad about it.
Remember what John Taffer says, no cross-contamination.
Exactly. That's why I told you to wash your hands with soap and water right after you did it. And you did it. Oh, and Tillard went to the groomers today.
Yeah, and it was a traumatic experience.
Oh, she cried the whole way. And she cried the whole way back, but it's always so funny. Oh, yeah, so she has this one spot in my apartment that is, like, really difficult for me to get her if she knows I'm bringing her to, like, the groomer or the vet. And it's, like, above my kitchen cabinets. So she, like, locks herself in there, but she made the mistake. I put a little mat up there for her to sleep on. She made the mistake of sitting on it. So I just grabbed the mat and just pulled her out completely. But then she ran, and then she hid under the bed, so then Bill had to help me, like, poke her out of the bed and get her, and, well, it was traumatic. But now her nails are not stabbing into my flesh, or your air mattress.
Yeah.
And she smells and looks so pretty, but it always kills me when they go, she's a little angel, and then, nope, she's evil to me.
Yeah.
What else? There was something else funny that happened. Oh, what was it? I think it was at breakfast or something. Or was it in the car? Oh, the gummy bear.
Oh yeah, we went to Cracker Barrel for breakfast this morning, and you know Cracker Barrel, you go and eat and then you have to browse the store because that's just how you do it in Cracker Barrel. But we were waiting in line and I looked over and they have the candy like right near the eye, and I'm not a big candy eater anymore, but I kind of looked over and I just saw Sour Patch Kids in like a small little bag, and I was kind of like, I really want Sour Patch Kids. I just had one of those cravings.
Yep.
So I got them, and Alex immediately forgot that they were Sour Patch Kids and just thought they were gummy bears.
Yeah, I was going.
So we were in the car, and she was being a little shit the entire time.
Yeah.
And so, like, I offered her one of them, and she forgot it was a Sour Patch Kid, so she stuck it in her mouth and literally went,
because in my brain, and it's not even that they're that sour, it's just that in my brain I was just like, gummy bear, gummy bear, gummy bear. So I was expecting gummy bear, and then I did it, I was like,
yeah, it was a funny moment. But yeah, that was our morning.
Yeah. So, summary, a lot has happened, a lot has changed, but we're gonna eat buffalo chicken dip tonight.
And we're gonna talk about some shit.
Yeah.
So our topic for today's episode is, so it's a bit of a mix of things. It's kind of it's gaming related.
Yes.
But it's also anime related, in a
Yes.
sense. It's also cartoon related. So we're talking about the weird and wacky history of Sonic the Hedgehog TV series.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like a lot, and they're pretty interesting, not gonna lie. So I guess like the earliest to date back, because
wasn't the first one the one where it was like Sonic says?
Yeah, so the first Sonic TV series was The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which debuted in 1993, so before we were even alive.
Oh, wow.
And it ran from 1993 till 1990. No, it only ran in 1993.
Oh, I thought you glitched out for a second.
No,
it glitched in real life, like boo.
So it's interesting. It ran throughout 1993. It had 65 episodes, but it had a special in 1996. That was like a Christmas special thing. which was supposed to be a tie-in actually to the canceled Sonic Extreme.
Oh, okay.
And but it instead ended up being a tie-in to Sonic 3D Blast because So Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was interesting because it was like an American
Sorry,
cartoon.
I just realized. Also, if you want to watch it, it's on Tubi for free.
It's also on YouTube. You can find this show anywhere.
Yeah.
It is not hard to find at all because it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
It was also distributed by Deke in America. Everyone remembers Deke.
Yep.
And these were like American shows, I guess you could say. They were like they were very similar to like the Mario TV series and the Zelda TV series. I think those were also distributed by Deke.
And like those two, they were made. Many a YouTube poop was made.
Okay. So YouTube poops. Well, let's be fair though. Almost every video game cartoon imaginable becomes YouTube poop at some point.
Yeah.
But so what made Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was interesting, because it was definitely the most, I guess, what you'd expect a Sonic TV show to be, in my opinion. Because it was basically it was like a goofy Saturday morning show where it was all comedy based, like goofy shit happening. It was just Sonic. It was what you'd expect, Sonic versus Eggman. And Sonic was, actually, interestingly enough, he was voiced by Jaleel White.
Yep.
Other known as Steve Urkel. Who would be the voice of Sonic in the TV series for a number of these shows for many years. And I remember because Dr. Eggman was voiced by Long John Baldery, and that's where we got the infamous Snoop Pingus Usual, I see. One of the most famous YouTube poop lines.
Yep.
And then the famous Sonic Says bits, which were like the educational things, and that's where we got the famous no one has a right to touch you one, which was amazing. So this show, I mean, it hasn't aged well, I will say, but going back to it, it was perfectly fine for what it was. There is some very cursed imagery from it, though, but all of these old shows were very cursed.
Like this.
Yes. Mama Robotnik is cursed in general. American Robotnik was cursed to begin with because they like made him fatter, gave him like man boobs and like more ass.
Lots of ass.
Lots of ass.
Dump truck.
I love his voice though because it's super goofy. Like, it's like it's just funny because it's so different from the actual what you'd think. It's interesting because there was some like a bunch of actors that have been around for a while, like Jaleel White, Ian James Corlett was in it at one point.
Yep.
65 episodes though in a year, back because they just pumped them out back then.
Yeah.
So then, following Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, we got
Sonic the Hedgehog.
So the series was called Sonic the Hedgehog, but it has been retroactively referred to as Sonic Sat AM because it was a reference to the Saturday morning time slot that the show had.
Yep.
Now, Sat AM was very different from AOSTH. So it ran for 2 seasons, ironically, like only 26 episodes though, but these were longer and more in-depth episodes. And I always remember the theme songs. It was like, Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Like the most like stupid like early like late 90s like intro.
Was this one also related to like the comics?
So
like,
the comics were based off of this show.
Oh, okay.
So Sat AM was interesting because it was very, rather than being just a goofy kind of like serialized, a goofy just kind of like comedy show with no real plot or direction, Sat AM had an in-depth plot and a very dark like overtone to it. Like there was a whole bunch of like really dark elements to it, like the whole like freedom fighters and like a world ruled by Robotnik's tyranny. And
Robotnik looks
one of the scariest Robotniks in the franchise, and he was voiced by Jim Cummings. You know who Jim Cummings voices? No. Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
But he also does like a ton of those really sinister voices. He's got a really big talented range, but it's probably one of the most sinister Robotniks of all time. And this was like where they introduced like the concept like roboticization and a whole bunch of that weird shit.
Yeah, because isn't like the bunny character like she was partially
roboticized. Sonic's Uncle Chuck was fully roboticized. In this series, so Jaleel White came back as Sonic, and they introduced a whole bunch of like other characters. Like this is where the whole freedom fighters came from, with like Sally Acorn and all those additional characters along with Tails. So this show has a massive cult following. I always thought it was okay. Like, I never could really get into it just because we missed it. Because this show ran from 93 to 94. So this was still before either of us were alive.
Yeah. I do remember seeing, like, reruns on, like, 4Kids.
Yeah, you'd see them occasionally pop up, and I always remember seeing it and being like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, it's super weird. But I remember that it has a definite cult following. I think the biggest thing is it ended on a cliffhanger that was never resolved because the show got canceled early. And it's weird because originally the Archie comic series was basically just a comic book based off of Sad AM.
Yeah.
And then it ended up kind of just developing further, and I think they actually did conclude the end. They kind of resolved the ending to the series in the comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the Archie comics went on for a while, like before those became a disaster, like dumpster fire themselves. Yeah, Sad AM's probably the most, out of all these old Sonic TV shows, it's probably the most well-regarded one that like people actually look back at fondly. And I'd say give it a shot, because it's all on YouTube. Like, you can find this shit easily.
Yep.
I'd say give it a shot. It's definitely the most... It's a good take. It's an interesting take. It's not, like, perfect. It hasn't aged well, I'll say that. I mean, none of these shows really have. But, yeah. So, Sad AM... I will say that it does have fans. Like, it has a strong fan base for what it is.
And I think too, where it had like the comic series that went after it, you know, they kind of go hand in hand with the fan base. So
yep.
Yeah.
So then after Sad AM, then we get so now we get the Japanese animation.
Oh, okay.
We get the Sonic OVA, or Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, as it was released in America. So it was a 2-part OVA that was released in Japan, and it was actually animated.
Cowboy Hat Knuckles.
Yeah, Cowboy Hat Knuckles. That's where that came from. So
also the weird cat princess girl.
Yeah, the cat girl human that possible love. I don't really know. So this was the same studio that did the opening animation for Sonic CD, I believe. So it has a very similar look to it.
Yep.
And so this film is interesting because it is very Sonic-like. Like, it has the look to it. Like, the Robotnik looks like Robotnik. Oh, yeah, there's some cursed imagery in this one, too.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at pictures of it, and some of the screenshots...
Oh, the film it's not a good film at all. Although most of the, a lot of the actual, like, dislike for it is based off of the horrible dub, which was not one of ADV's best, I will say. But it did give us some great, like, YouTube... All these have amazing YouTube poop material.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of my favorites is the infamous, like, the scene of Sonic and Metal Sonic, like, having, like, kind of like they were fighting, and you get the famous... You must know everything I'm gonna do because I know everything you're gonna do. Strange, isn't it? Like, that shit.
Yeah.
Like... It's such a goofy, because it's technically a 2-part like OVA, but they just released it over here as Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
Yeah.
But we got Cowboy Hat Knuckles, which was cool.
Yeah.
And there was also a great like YouTube poop called Sonic Bastardized, which was just a giant like basically shitting all over the movie.
Damn.
It was basically just a giant YouTube poop of the movie. You can find it. It's available everywhere.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. And then, before we get to the next show, there was also, you'll have to look this one up separately, but there was it's very obscure nowadays. I don't really know the story behind it, but there was this rare, short animated segment called Sonic, like, Man of the Year.
Oh, okay.
And it was Sonic Man
Of the Year.
It was a very short cartoon, and it had really interesting animation. Like,
wait, is this the one where it was like I saw that cursed image of Eggman?
Yeah, where Eggman dresses up as Sonic because Sonic was voted Man of the Year.
Yeah.
So he basically cosplays as Sonic to ruin Sonic's image, like by like going around like town and just like
so cursed
trolling people.
It does.
It has like Looney Tunes, like Warner Brothers, like quality animation though. It's a really cool short.
Yeah. Well, it's like interesting because I'm looking at like a little just GIF of it, and the animation is like very fluid. Like,
yeah.
It's very nice animation. It's really interesting.
It's interesting. I don't know what the context of it was though, because literally it's not a really it's a depressing short too, because literally the thing. Oh yeah, TMS did it. That's funny. It was also included with Sonic. Yeah, that's nice. Sonic. She looked at an image of Sonic and Mega Man's face swap. It was amazing.
I don't like it.
Yeah, so it was released. It was released like later on as a part of Sonic Jam as like a little bonus. It was never completed though. It ended as a cliffhanger where basically it ends where Sonic goes from Man of the Year to Worst of the Year.
Oh my goodness.
And it just ends to be continued. There's really no.
And it was never continued.
Yeah, it was never continued. I guess it was planned to be longer and have a part 2 continuation, but I guess budget and time led to it just never going anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's basically just forever an eternal cliffhanger. Like downer ending. Yeah, because it's the short's from '94. Like it's pretty old. It's actually before the Sonic. Oh, apparently it's officially called Sonic the Animation.
Oh.
Maybe
Sure.
Everyone calls it Sonic Man of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it actually predates the OVA, believe it or not. But then after that, we got the final of the quote-unquote
90s.
American series. And we got probably the most infamous.
For how bizarre.
It's weird, because this one is very weird. So, this final series was called Sonic Underground.
Yeah.
And Sonic Underground is...
Sonic has siblings.
Yes, he does. And he's in an underground rock band. But there's also... So they also include... So the whole plot of the series is... Sonic was... And his 3 siblings were like the...
Also, Sonic is thick. In this thing. He looks fat next to his brother and sister.
Well, this was predating it. This was the like final thing before Adventure Sonic.
Yep.
And the redesigns. So... Sonic Underground was like kind of like it was commissioned to promote the Dreamcast. I mean, great job there. So it revolved around Sonic and his siblings who were like the children of the Queen of Mobius or some weird shit, and Robotnik takes over and it has like this like weird prophecy shit. It's very Sad AM inspired, but it's also an original story, and they play in like a rock band. Like they all have magic instruments and they just play. Yeah, that.
That's cursed.
There was a lot of really disturbing.
So I guess when Sonic was a baby,
no, that's not
that's
not Sonic. That's a robot.
Oh.
Yeah, that's from an episode in the show.
Oh. Well, I guess hedgehog babies, their eyes are not merged together at birth. They slowly move together.
You know what another... So, Sonic Underground's gimmick, too, was it did that thing where, like, every episode there's a song.
Yeah.
And some of them are really shit. Others... But the music videos are kind of fun. And I always remember because they had different singing voices and... from their main voices, because all three hedgehogs were voiced by Julia White. Yes, all 3, including the girl.
That's funny.
It's very goofy to listen to nowadays. It's one of the reasons why it's so hard to listen to now.
Also, Eggman still has this terrifying design.
But he doesn't have the same voice. It's Gary Chalk did the voice in this one, and he didn't do a bad job, but it's just very generic, like evil guy voice.
Yeah.
Also, Brian Drummond, over 9000 Vegeta was in it, and he did he voiced Knuckles because Knuckles made an appearance in this one as well. Yep. His other animated appearance, but it was like short, stubby Knuckles, like before they redid the animation.
Yeah.
Underground is bad. It's not good. The theme song's kind of catchy.
I won't lie, it doesn't really look great from just the images I've seen.
No, and it didn't really end on a cliffhanger. It just kind of ended with no resolved conclusion. Like, they never found their mother. It made it 40 episodes, which is kind of impressive because it made it more than Sad AM. And it only ran for like one season.
It is kind of like a bizarre concept, though. Like why Sonic chose like a music band, like, and honestly, before they even like had like Crush 40 as like background music, like this was before then. It's weird. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, it was an odd choice.
Also, what's with his brother's tentacle hair?
Because he's a punk rocker.
Well, I don't like it. It creeps. It's weird.
There was also a funny, like well, not funny, but well, I mean, it was kind of interesting. There was a goof years later with the game Sonic and Sega All Star Racing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a level with like Queen of like card. It's like a card gimmick, and the Queen card they used Amy for the Queen.
Yep.
But in the Wii and PC version initially, there was actually a mix-up, and the person who was doing the graphics accidentally grabbed some fan art of Sonya and used it in the game.
That's
and
funny.
Sega did actually end up, like, I believe, doing something like reimbursing the artist, I believe, but they patched it out of every version, but it's still in the Wii version to this day. So Sonya does make a canonical appearance in a Sonic game, technically.
That's so fun. Oh.
I always remember that because she does appear in that one in the Wii version, anyways.
Oh, but his poor brother never got a chance.
No, yeah, this show is so doofy. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
And I think it was like French animation too, because a lot of these shows were outsourced to France for whatever reason. I always remember too because they all had their own singing voices that were different from the.
That must have been so like stark, like jarring at first, especially with Julia White voicing all of their normal voices and then having a completely different singer voice the other. But it's also pretty common in a lot of like shows and stuff.
I know for a fact that I believe Sonic's singing voice was actually the guy who voices Double D in Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like it was weird, some goofy thing like that, and it had home media releases, believe it or not.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. Oh, Shout Factory actually regained the rights to it.
Huh.
You can watch it on iTunes. It's on the iTunes store.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I think I also saw it. I think
Well, it's on
Paramount Plus.
It might be. It's on YouTube, definitely,
Yeah,
though.
it says available Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah.
Or Amazon Prime.
Go for it.
Or YouTube.
Give it a watch.
Google Play, Voodoo, whatever the fuck. Oh, maybe it's on Tubi too. I don't know. It's
Who
everywhere.
cares? I watched it.
Don't watch this one. If you're gonna watch one, don't watch this one.
I mean, I wouldn't watch any of them, but.
Well, actually, you would, because we are.
Yeah, we did.
I want to keep watching it.
But yeah, before we move on, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Beans.
And we're back.
We're back, and I'm getting hungry because all I can smell is the buffalo chicken dip cooking.
She's hungry. But anyways,
Hungry.
so moving on. So now we get to the next Sonic series, and this is probably the one most people are familiar with.
Oh yeah.
So during the 2000s, so this is post Dreamcast, post console. Sega's now an open like third party company.
Yep.
We got Sonic X. And
Gotta go fast.
We'll get to that. So, Sonic X is so weird.
Yeah.
Because the original like teaser trailer for the anime, because this is an anime actually. This is despite how it looks, this is an anime.
Yep.
And Sonic, the original trailer looked really awesome. Like it was action packed. It was just Sonic, no humans.
Yep.
And fighting Eggman and like robots and stuff, and like it looked really interesting. And I remember this show being like hyped up like when back in the day, because Sonic was still relatively popular at the time. Like not like, I mean, he's still popular, but he was still like, even though his games were shit, he was still like on top of the world. Mm-hmm. So the show aired in 2003, so like right around, I guess you could say, Sonic Heroes was probably the game.
Yep.
That was big at the time, and so it was brought to, so because it was a Japanese an anime,
Yep.
it was dubbed over here, and the studio that handled the dub was 4Kids.
Yep.
And boy, did they handle the dub. So
they handle me all right.
4Kids. I mean, I guess we can get into 4Kids a little. Like they were probably one of the bigger dubbing studios back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like, because they were famous for Pokemon, obviously. That's still to this day their biggest. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are their two biggest dubs of all time. And they aren't great dubs, but well, Pokemon was fine, other than some goofy, like,
Rose Bowl.
Jelly Donuts, editing out the Tauros episode because Gun and James's inflatable boobs, but I mean, in reality, I mean, that's not too egregious to edit out. So.
Oh yeah.
But it was 4Kids was more infamous for their later shit where they were like just blatantly changing like storylines and like cutting out like the One Piece, One Piece that they didn't even want to do. But that's beside the point. Which is
a disgrace. But now One Piece is in the hands of Funimation, and all is well.
Yeah, but I mean, they did have some good successes though. Like their dub of Ultimate Muscle wasn't bad for anyone who remembers that one. And then they also did the 2003 TMNT series, which was really good. But aside from that, 4Kids has been always infamous for their really bad like localization and somewhat horrible script writing.
Yep.
And some people give their VAs credit, but they complain about their VAs, but I will say their voice actors were all very talented. They just had to work with what they had to work with.
Yeah, they did the best with what they had.
But they were all paid very well, so that's probably why most of them stuck around so much in the New York dubbing scene. So obviously they handled the dubbing for the show, but the problem was, so in Japan, the show used the VAs from the series. Mm-hmm. In America, on the other hand, because of how dubbing works, this didn't happen.
No.
So, despite the fact that Sega had a full-on cast, like, of voice actors for the games, 4Kids decided to recast everybody, despite the fact that Ryan Drummond, the voice of Sonic, was apparently willing to move to New York to voice Sonic in the game. Yeah. In the show. So, but unfortunately, 4Kids being 4Kids said no. Yeah. And so this was the introduction of... So it's a kind of controversial, hit or miss here. The 4Kids era voice cast for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yep.
So we had like the voices like Jason Griffith as Sonic.
Yep.
Amy Palland, I think, something like that as blanking here a little bit.
Amy Palland. Oh, Wooster! Did you come and just talk about Sonic too? Killer that's here.
Yeah, Amy Pallant as Tails, not one of the best Tails voices out there. Lisa Ortiz as Amy, Dan Green, or just Yugi Moto as Knuckles, and a bunch of other ones. And so I will say about the 4Kids voice cast, one of the reasons they were also very infamous was because they were using both voice cast for a while at the same time between the two games, and eventually they just decided to just fire the game cast and just replace them with the 4Kids cast.
Harsh.
Which, yeah, wasn't popular at the time. Granted, neither cast was particularly good at the time. I don't know if that's controversial or not. I mean, I did prefer the original voice cast, even though they were not amazing actors by any means. But we're getting beside the point. I will say, by the end of their run, right when they got fired, I think the 4Kids cast got really good. Like, particularly Jason Griffith as Sonic was like... He was really solid in Unleashed and, like, Black Knight. I never liked Dan Green as Knuckles, but... He was just Yugi.
Yeah.
He was just doing Yugi.
No, yeah. It definitely does... I mean, because we watched that one.
Yeah, we'll get there. I thought Lisa Ortiz was fine as Amy. I mean... Nothing against Amy Pallant, but Tails sounded like a girl all the time, and it was meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the 4Kids cast was always hit or miss. So the show then we finally get to the actual Sonic X show, and what's interesting about Sonic X is while it's an anime, it doesn't look like an anime at all.
Like a lot of the characters, like
it looks like it could very well be a cartoon a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't help that 4Kids edited out all like the anime stuff, like the the ad the break cut-ins and stuff.
Yep.
And the characters all look just very like American-esque,
Yeah.
like cartoony.
Like the kid, Chris Thorndyke's family, like they all like his grandpa, his creepy ass grandpa,
Yeah.
and his maid. Like they just don't look anime-esque really.
Yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of voice actors too, we also forgot probably one of the greatest things that we got from this ever was Mike Pollock as Dr. Eggman,
Yes.
who is to this day still the voice of Eggman because he is perfect for the role.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I think there was a brief period where they were going to fire the current cast.
Yep.
Even though they backed down and kept the cast anyways, but Mike Pollock was like the only guy who was like guaranteed to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, beside the point, getting into the show now, it starts out interesting because it's like it's actually not bad. The opening scene, I will admit, is pretty good.
Yeah, because it's like a fight in like
it's Sonic,
on their planet.
It's very like Sonic Adventure-esque, like they're facing off against Eggman, and he's about to do something in his base of operations. They're going to rescue Cream the Rabbit. That's what it was.
Yes.
And it's funny because the first character you see in Sonic X is actually Big the Cat, believe it or not.
Yep.
But
oh yeah, because he's just sitting under
fishing.
a tree fishing.
But eventually they confront Eggman, and then he dubbing mistake. They refer to Eggman's base as Chaos Control multiple times, even though it's actually it's what happens with the Chaos Emerald that warps them into the human real world. So what happens is they go from their world to the real world.
Yep.
And then in the real world, Sonic's literally in the middle of the streets, and everyone's like, "What kind of hedgehog is that?" And then the police are trying to catch him, and he's being Sonic, just being a dick.
Yep.
The intro's not bad, I will say. It starts out pretty strong. The voice acting's a little cringy, but hey.
Yeah.
This was literally most of these actors, I'm pretty sure this was their first time at voice acting.
Yeah.
And they get better as the show goes on. The first few episodes are a little rough, though.
Oh yeah, I mean Cream's voice was
Well,
definitely
Cream the Rabbit. I will say this is just a general thing. Cream the Rabbit has never had a good voice.
Yeah.
Like she's always been annoying. But anyways, moving on.
Bill.
Oh yeah, they did do that. Yeah, they edited out that. But so anyways, continuing on though, it ends up going.
That's what makes it anime, Bill.
Yeah, it ends up going through like a whole bunch of stuff. Like Sonic ends up racing like the police because there's like literally one of the police officers literally has like a Formula One car.
Yeah, they're like the speed troop or something.
Yeah.
They call it that, which is just so stupid.
And eventually Sonic ends up in Chris Thorndyke's swimming pool, and Chris Thorndyke is the main reason why everyone hates Sonic X.
Yep.
He's the kid, the human character that's supposed to be us to relate with, but he's so annoying. He's very annoying, and he brings down the show entirely.
Yeah, he's very annoying and unhelpful.
Yeah. And so we go through the episodes, and there is some decent action scenes with Sonic, Tails, and everyone fighting Eggman. Like you get a lot of adventure references, like where Tails has the tornado and it transforms into the weird X tornado thing that he has going on. Mm-hmm. And as the show goes on, you get all the cast kind of will reunite slowly. And season 1 of the show is interesting because season 1 is very it's kind of like AOSTH in a way. Mm-hmm. It's very kind of it's kind of like a weekly thing. It's every episode is what's Eggman gonna do this time?
What card is he gonna pull out?
So Eggman, the way Eggman picks his monster of the week or robot of the week is he has a pack of playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards basically, and he will pick one and then he'll put them in a slot machine and just get a random robot for every week. It's stupid, but and then he just ends up with that's the plot for the first series. And meanwhile, you also get some character moments, and there's a point where he tricks Knuckles because that didn't get old after the 7th time. That didn't get old after the 7th time they did it. And they fight, and it's not the worst thing you'll ever watch, but it's not great.
Yeah, it's definitely some of it you're just sorry. We didn't get enough sleep last night. Some of it you're just alright, this is alright, whatever. And then some of it you're just okay. And then
another point you're oh, that's bad.
But it's one of those shows though that as you're watching, you just start making fun of it.
Yeah, the point where Chris's grandpa Chuck, because they had to make a reference to Uncle Chuck.
Yep.
he thinks Sonic is like a high-tech robot, and he literally tries to unscrew him, and it looks like he's shoving the screwdriver up his ass, and it's like, what is happening here?
And then we just joked about it from the rest.
Yeah.
The whole time we've been watching it, we've just been like, the screwdriver.
Yeah. So season 1 was very, like, by the numbers-ish, and then moving on, season 2 is, I think, the strongest point of the series, in my opinion.
Yep.
Because that's the one where they kind of recap Sonic Adventure 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and I think
And
sort
Emo
of...
the Hoghead appears.
Yeah, Emo the Hoghead appears. They also tried to do Sonic Battle briefly, but they actually did address a few things that weren't addressed in the show, like how they fixed the moon. Like, they had Eggman try to pretend he was good at one point, and then he, like, fixes the moon, and then the moon all of a sudden is, like, moving, and it's gonna destroy the world. It's like, I wonder what happened there.
Yeah.
But we get introduced to, like, Shadow, and then you get the whole Shadow arc. And one of the most infamous things that makes the Japanese version significantly... So the Japanese, like, subbed version...
Yep.
Is the definitive way probably to watch Sonic X if you really want
If
to watch it.
you really do. I mean, if you want to, it's pretty funny to laugh at. Not the show itself, it's just hilarious because of how horrible it is.
But one of the reasons why I prefer the Japanese is because the Japanese had a lot of East stuff that was edited out from the 4Kids dub. Mm-hmm. Particularly the infamous scene of the fight in space with Sonic and Shadow against the Bio Lizard, where it plays Live and Learn in the Japanese version, and they edited it out to some generic 4Kids music that sucked. There was also the scene where Shadow beats the shit out of Chris Thorndike that they edited out, which was a bummer.
Come on, I feel like fans would have really liked the show more if that was in it.
They probably would have. I would have definitely.
Yeah.
And then one of the most annoying is they finally get the chance to go back to their real world. Yeah. And then Chris Thorndike's like, I don't want Sonic to leave. And, like, he stops it before Sonic can leave.
So he had an Elise moment.
Yeah, Princess Elise moment. It's so stupid. But it... I mean, yeah.
They really made, like, I feel like they really made him unlikable. Like,
they tried to make him likable, and he just became more unlikable.
Yeah, like, I feel like they tried really hard to make him unlikable, that they, to make him likable, that they made him unlikable. And, like, the supporting characters around him, too, the other humans, like, you know. Like,
yeah, none of the humans are particularly interesting.
Yeah, like, the grandpa's just weird and creepy. The mom is just, like, this dumb
the
bitch
parents
actress.
The parents are they're there.
Yeah.
The maid is kind of funny. Mostly just because it's voiced by Mike Pollock. But...
Yeah, that's what... The maid's pretty funny just for that alone. But, yeah, it's funny to laugh at. But season 3 is when things get weird.
Yeah, season 3, though. So the show was, like, I believe, canceled.
In Japan.
In Japan, I believe. But it was actually, like, super popular in
America.
In America, so they actually... Season 3, I think, was requested by 4Kids or whatever. So season 3 is weird, because this is, like, completely roundabout by this point. Mm-hmm. And so they're back in their world.
Yep.
But there's, like, a time skip in the real world, because Chris is an adult now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And he found a way to go visit Sonic, but when he goes through the thing, it de-ages him back to his regular age.
Yep.
But he still has all of his, like, knowledge retained. So they tried to make him better.
Yeah.
But it's still Chris Thorndike and no one cares.
Yeah, it's still like, why couldn't we just have the Sonic cast without this
and then
child?
so then season 3 is so weird because it's like Sonic becomes a space opera.
Yeah.
Like, they go to space because the emeralds have been scattered across, like, space-time, and they have to fight this villainous, like, species called the Metarex.
Yeah.
And we get introduced to this character named Cosmo, who is like a
plant lady.
Plant girl.
And Tails' love interest.
Yeah, and becomes Tails' love interest. It was weird, really weird. But this series was weird because it, like, Tails builds a fucking starship that they use to get around space. And, like, they're going from planet to planet, and it becomes kind of like a space opera.
Yeah. Doesn't Cosmo die?
Yeah, she does at the end. So spoiler, well, I mean, who cares, spoiler warning, whatever. Shadow also comes back after he died in well, yeah, that happened in the games, but...
Yeah.
It's still dumb. It's still dumb regardless.
Yeah.
And I always remember, too, because there was... The Metarex saga got really goofy. There was also... Because there was the point where, like, we got one of the most infamous Sonic things ever. We got, like, Dark Sonic, if you remember that.
Oh,
where Sonic, there's a bunch of fake Chaos Emeralds, and Sonic gets super pissy, and he goes like, he gets like this like dark super form, and it's really goofy. And I always remember because
it sprouted many a fan fiction.
Many a fan fiction. It was used in Nazo Unleashed, if anyone remembers that animation. And it also was like the thing used for so many AMVs back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many times
Animal I've
Become. That was used so many times for like AMVs back in the day.
Yep.
But I always remember that, and then the Metarex saga really kind of just ends, and the show ends basically with Chris gets sent home, and then
good. Goodbye.
It ends.
Yeah.
There are so many goofy things in this show, like it's so weird watching it now because you're like, wow, this series has had its run, like. But it was popular back in the day. Like it ran for a good while, 2003 to 6, 3 years. Yeah. And I remember it was on all the time back in the day.
Oh yeah, and I remember I watched it when like YouTube was a magical place where you could watch anime for free on there.
Yeah.
And it would be in like 8 parts, but you could watch it on there. And I believe that's how I watched Sonic.
And how could we forget the theme song? Like one of the greatest theme songs ever. You know, gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, faster, faster. Every
time we watch it, there's this one part where Sonic is just like, I don't know what he's doing, but his mouth is just his whole face, and he's just like, bah!
So Sonic X was animated by TMS Entertainment, who is a very well-known like animation studio. The same people who did the Man of the Year thing.
Yeah.
But this show doesn't look great nowadays. It has some really goofy moments. Some of the faces are just bad. I mean, I will say the VAs got better.
Like this.
Yeah. This show is very YouTube-poopable as well, though. Like, all the Sonic shows are very YouTube-poopable.
And I also, like, I remember, like, because I was watching the show, and I remember that this show was also where, like, if people, like, made, like, any AMV for Sonic, they always use clips from this show. Clips or, like, screenshots from this show.
Yeah, well, because they was the most... it was an anime. It was just convenient. It was around at the time. This show did have a comic, too, because there was an Archie...
Oh, it did?
Yeah, Archie did a Sonic X comic for a short while. That was kind of eh.
Yeah.
I mean, Archie was a mess during that whole period. I always remember all that stuff. The art style for Sonic X always kind of bothered me, though. It just... No?
You did? Like this?
No one likes Chris Thorndike.
He looks so weird in this photo.
He's just... He was... The show... He didn't add anything to the show. That's the thing. And if anything, he just brought the show down. Yeah.
He made it cringier.
But yeah, Sonic X was, like, for the longest time, the final Sonic TV series until 2017, I want to say?
Yeah.
Where we got Sonic... No, 2014. 2014. It ended in 2017. We got Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom.
The best thing to come out of Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
So Sonic Boom, of course, you know, it was a reboot, not a reboot, a alternate continuity of Sonic. And the Wii U game was terrible. The 3DS games were eh. Fire and Ice was pretty good. Shattered Crystal was meh.
Yeah.
But the show itself was like the highlight. There was also an Archie Boom comic for a while too. Did the
show come out before the game too? I thought I remember seeing that the show came out before the actual game did.
It might have come out shortly before. But it went on... So it made it 2 seasons and over 104 episodes.
Yeah.
And they actually did use the full-on game cast this time, which was great.
Yep.
And this was also the first computer animated show, so it was like 3D animation. And so I will say, this show is good. Like, it's definitely the best Sonic TV show, arguably.
Yeah.
It's the best thing to come out of the Sonic Boom debacle.
Yeah.
But I will admit, though, it's not really my cup of tea, per se.
It's made for kids. And, like,
it's
you can
made for kids,
see it.
And it's very much modern, well, at the time, modern humor. It's Zoomer humor. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's Zoomer humor. I mean, it's good. There was some funny ones, like the Eggman, like, becomes Sonic's roommate at one point. Like, just goofy shit. I mean, the Boom designs, I mean, I love Boom Amy. Boom Amy is still probably the best thing about Boom.
Yeah.
Boom Knuckles is Boom Knuckles. He's still an idiot, but whatever. Sonic's alright. I mean, the best part about the Boom show was just the VAs getting to actually, like, do it a lot with their work.
Yeah.
At the time. And... yeah, I mean, it kind of came and went, though, because it lasted 2 seasons, and then it just...
yeah, then it just was like, see ya!
went away.
Yeah. I thought I saw, I don't know if... it might have been... I thought I saw something about another new Sonic TV show.
So, yeah, that's the thing. After Boom, they've actually recently announced 2022... there is an upcoming Netflix series, it sounds like.
Sonic Prime?
Yeah, Sonic Prime. We don't know enough about this. From what it sounds like, it's like about Sonic. He's going to travel across the multiverse, and there's going to be themes of self-discovery and redemption. It's already getting into kind of that territory where I'm kind of like, no. Sega, stop.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it will even happen, because Netflix is dropping a lot of their animated projects.
Well, they might just move it somewhere else at this point. Because there's also a Knuckles series that's been announced as a Paramount Plus thing. And at this point, I don't know. Because at this point, too, the best way if you want to watch Sonic, watch the movie.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to watch animated Sonic, watch the movie or the new movie. Sonic.
We still got to see Sonic 2. I've heard great things, and I mean, Sonic 1 was still an amazing film. We talked about it in our movie podcast way back, and I actually still think it's like my favorite portrayal of Sonic, because he just did such a good job, like getting that character down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess looking back at it, I mean, all of these shows are memorable, whether or not it's for good or bad reasons.
Oh, yeah. I think, honestly, just the amount of, like, internet history from these shows, like, all the YouTube
YouTube poops.
Yeah.
Back when YouTube poops were, like, a
huge thing.
We're still, like a viable YouTube, like, source of, like,
entertainment.
Entertainment, yeah. Oh, dang. I always remember stuff like this. Honestly, I don't know. Sonic Prime doesn't sound interesting to me. It sounds very much like it's gonna be another shit show. But
well,
hey, you never know.
You never know. I'll wait and see. You know, if people say it's good, then I'll check it out. But if people say it's shit, then I'm probably just gonna watch Sonic X, because that's at
gotta
least
go
funny.
fast.
That's at least hilarious.
I love all the theme songs though. Gotta go faster, faster. Like, I still think Fastest Thing Alive's the best one though, because that one just has like the most like awesome like Sonic. He can really move, Sonic.
Remember that Sonic short where it's like I think he like hums that song.
Yeah, he's in the grocery store.
Yep.
Sonic shorts. That was another piece of YouTube history.
Better animated than some of the shows.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it.
Yep.
Say it how it is, because some of those animators were super talented.
Yeah, they were.
I hope they went on to animate much greater, even better projects.
Hell, Chalker X, the guy who Nazwa Unleashed, is doing a sequel too.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's doing a sequel after years, and his animation style is significantly better.
Oh, awesome!
I saw the trailer. I don't know what this timeline on that is, but that's
awesome.
a thing.
Yeah, I mean, watch that.
Yeah,
because that would be good.
But anyways, guys, Alex's cat has made an appearance.
Wooster for me.
She's not gonna come over because you want her to. But shut up. Anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. The Gaming and Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify Podcast. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, along with Good Pods. We make the episodes on Anchor Podcast, and the episodes eventually do come out on YouTube whenever. Though that might be delayed for a while, just because the current living situation. But it'll get to it eventually. But there's the hiccup count. I was wondering when that was going to happen. But anyways, guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
Bye. I dropped my phone.